Hello everyone, welcome back and Happy New Year. It's a miserable day outside right now. And as per usual, things are trying to stop me to do what I need to do, but I'm here anyway. And it is connected, well, as always is, but today, especially with this particular subject, why so hard to escape the space of a victim? Well, I explained in previous videos that one of the major problem here is there's been the lack of, well, energy, not enough energy, lack of space in the awareness. Therefore, a portion of the mind, a portion of your awareness is always in the background somewhere where you don't have any access to it. And therefore, certain things happen without your direct or conscious consent. And that's where the distortion goes in. So what hurts us is, in the end, is the unconsciousness, the space of the unconsciousness. Because a lot of the things that are being done that may seem hurtful, when somebody is like, oh, is doing this terrible thing, action that is hurtful, beyond it is the distortion that uses the unconsciousness, the unconscious space inside someone to deliver whatever it needs to deliver. And what hurts, it's why it's so painful, and ultimately why it's so hard to forgive certain acts, certain things, is a thing called intentionality. It's like, it makes it seem that the person who is doing the hurtful thing is doing it on purpose, and they are, but in an unconscious way most of the time. Because they're at both ends, when something, let's say what's understood as bad, as terrible, usually both ends are, the perception is distorted, is used by the distortion at both ends. So the one who's doing the hurtful thing has his or her perception distorted, as well as the person at the other end receiving that hurtful, terrible thing. So it's very hard for most mind to get out of a space like this, because of the intentionality. That's the biggest trap for the mind, the intentionality. Remember this, the intentionality, because it seemed like, oh, but they knew what they were doing. Yes and no, because when you're not in control of yourself, of your full awareness, it's very easy to say, yeah, I was aware, but in reality, I mean, that person was aware, although at the same time, I don't want to excuse certain hurtful things or deeds that people do, but you have to understand that this is so, I mean, that's the truth, and that's the biggest trap for the mind here, to escape the space. That's why things have been kept on here, like on this endless cycles of hurt and like victim-victimizer, because of this, because the frequency band has been low, not enough space to become aware of what is actually happening, what is the real reality behind anything, unless, well, you have certain codes, you have cleaned a little bit, so only with that you gain more discernment and understanding of like why this is happening. If you remember, Jesus himself had said, it's like, forgive them, Father, for they don't know what they are doing. And that's what it means. It means that most minds, if not everyone, various degrees, they don't know what they're doing, because the perception is being constantly distorted. And it has space to, that distortion has space to enter, because there's no, the cleaning hasn't begun, there's the codes situation as well. And like I said, the narrow band until now has served so well the distortion to do basically whatever it wants to do, to deliver its own, whatever, agenda. So that's the biggest problem, and it's even more tricky to forgive when somebody's doing something what would be understood like cruel, terrible. It's because of this, because the power of the intentionality that it has, over your mind, over one mind, it's so it's like it's very hard to remove that. Remember, that's like when you want to set up an intention, like to do, oh, I want to do this. So the intention, the power is like the intention in itself, it's very powerful. So when that intentionality is used but against you, it has the same power as you would have, let's say, if you set up on, you have an intention to do something, not necessarily horrible, but like something, whatever, you want to work on a project, whatever, something good for yourself, you have the same power. So that the power of intention is it's huge. So when that is directed at you, and you do not have the space to see what's behind it, what's the real reality, it hurts so much, and it's unbearable, and it's like, I can't forgive that, because there's no space to see, because what you see is that's very clear, it has been done, it's like intentionally, it's very clear. It's like at the surface, yes, it is, but we always have to go deeper to see, okay, what's behind that act, why the person did this or said that. Maybe they also are hurt, or have been hurt, or have been traumatized, and they are just doing what other people have done onto them. So we have been trapped here in endless cycles of hurt, and being in this state of victim and victimizer, and it seemed like it's helpless most of the time, because like most people are still like, somebody would say, like headless chickens running in all directions, not really understanding what's going on with life, because it's so easy to just like go outside of yourself, then return to the center and take control. And cleaning, the process of cleaning, is that thing that is necessary to gain that power, to that discernment. You gain the discernment through the cleaning process, and you gain the power over your awareness, and you enlarge that awareness. Plus now there's more energy, so it's much easier to do that. And when you start to clean, and when you start to dissolve a lot of the filters, you also discover this dirt. It's like you will see more and more dirt, because it's like in people, in things, you will see that most of interactions are just, besides feeling unnatural, they just feel dirty. It's just like, what are we doing to each other? Why we do this? So the cleaner one becomes the more sensitive, and it's harder to tolerate certain things, although you become immune to certain things, but also it's hard to tolerate other things. So it's not really easy, but hey, because you're moving through levels, shifting through levels. And that's also unpleasant. The other thing that people do here, or not, what not to do, once you become aware, is not to dump unconsciously the trash that they've accumulated on other people. Here people don't know really the correct boundaries to interact with each other, even when one needs help, because I've experienced lately certain situations where somebody that is in a position to want to have help, instead of taking responsibility for that, is like, oh, I'm going to put that on you, because I don't want to take responsibility for what's inside me that looks very horrible and whatever. So you be the monster, so you mirror what I am inside, because I'm too scared to actually look at myself and actually take responsibility for that and process that, in the end, terrible trauma. So it's kind of like what I witnessed. I mean, this is an example. It's just, I've been in a situation where I was basically, remember, there's like a pressure pot, like where there's the hole where the steam comes out, it's like the pressure. So I realized that, oh, I became the release point for somebody who didn't want to take responsibility, not necessarily not wanting consciously, but like unconsciously, because that's where we're going. Why the hurt? It's hard to escape the space of blame and victim, because victim and blame, they are all connected. It's because of this. It's just unconsciously, there's those parts where, oh, I didn't take control over this part. I haven't delved deep into this area, so I know I chart this area. I know what's here, and then it's like, oh, I know how to direct this whole thing, like how to process further. So, and then I had to disconnect completely. So I was like, no, that's not okay to do that. It's like, until now we thought that like talking about our problems is about dumping loads of crap on other people. No, it's not about sharing, oh, I have a problem and I need help with that. No, it's not about that, but the unconscious baggage, the pain, the ugliness that, or whatever, to put onto somebody else, that's the incorrect behavior. Not sharing, oh, I have this problem, I need help with this or whatever. So that's fine. Like I said, the more you become cleaner and cleaner, you realize that the behavior that we have here, most behaviors, the interactions that are here, they are incorrect. Even people say it's like, oh, but I'm not. There's situations that are just ridiculous because there's so much self-help, and there's also a lot of things about like how to process now, like pain, and people have become more aware, oh, it's because of the trauma, this and this. That's why somebody reacts in a certain way. But still, because there's disconnect, has always been disconnect in between generation, the younger generation that is like born into so much technology that doesn't have anymore the understanding of what those previous to them have lived and how things have been, and how they had to survive in those energetic conditions, and also certain things have disappeared from the environment. It's harder for them to understand or to connect with with a previous generation. So the gap, it's even wider right now because of the technology. So certain things are missing from the awareness of the younger generation, and in a way it's okay. It's like because we need to get rid of this crap that we lived in the past. There's a lot of trauma. The previous generation, including myself, I don't consider myself old, but I was born before. Sorry, I was born before the 2000, obviously, and I experienced a different reality than what it is for someone to be from the new millennium. And so it's harder for some people to actually connect with the pain, or how some people had to deal in the past with certain terrible situations, and it's not their fault. It's that perpetuation of that mind that, like I said, that has enabled this endless cycle of victim and victimizer. But now the distortion has a more perverse way of doing this, because it's like, look, I'm showing you that how to clear here, but also distort the perception of people on how it is to do that and what it means to do that. So how should I put this? It's like the distortion has become more and more refined and more perverse in this sense. So that's why I always insist so much on cleaning, because you can't win basically unless you create like literally that space inside yourself where the discernment exists, where the unconscious parts in yourself, you claim those parts, you take them back, you take those parts of yourself back, and then you start to see more and more magical things, and then you start to experience what a lot of spiritual teachings say, oh, mind over matter, that's the reality. You cannot have the mind over matter to reach that power unless you have dissolved that trash, those barriers, those mental barriers, those beliefs, those things that block and also basically generate the reality that you experience, or they reinforce that reality, it's a lot of work. Also, the what's called not the intention, the affirmations. There was this. It was very popular. I remember the beginning of the 2000s. That was the time when it became really, really popular. It's not that you should not tell yourself that, to encourage yourself, I believe I can do this, I'm good, I'm enough, or whatever you tell yourself that you need to tell yourself in order to go through something, achieve something, etc., etc. When you see that those things don't work, although you repeat them, you say, oh, but I'm doing this daily, I'm meditating, I'm doing this and that, and it still doesn't work, or it seems like to hurt you even more, is because you haven't really cleared behind, it's like inside yourself, you haven't claimed the unconscious part in yourself. So the distortion can do whatever it wants. And don't expect that it's going to be easier as like once you get at a higher level of cleaning, that things will, I mean, certain things will be easier, but other things will increase in intensity, in the sense that the distortion will try to get you back. The more you do the right thing, the more the distortion will fight to get you back, to put you back into your positions, like stay there, so we continue this game. So in the sense, it feels, like I said, helpless and it's pointless. Like, then again, it's not. And that's why I always insist you need persistence, you need patience, you need to be persistent. You can't do that. You won't be able to have this power, like mind over matter, to really begin to really shift your reality in a major way in that sense, unless you clean this, unless you claim that. And there you'll see there's so many layers, and it happens gradually. And at least that's what happened for me and continues to happen. And there's no easy way out. So why is it so hard, again, to escape the victim space? It's because of the unconsciousness. That's the actual problem. And what's behind this whole thing, what traps the mind, is the intentionality behind a certain hurtful, terrible act, which actually makes a strong impression on the mind, and it's like somebody's hitting you with a bomb, it's like with the power of a billion suns, and then it's kind of hard to deny that power. It's like, well, that's true, and it is, until you dissolve that and you clear that and you understand, you make space to understand that, wait, maybe there's something else behind it. So there's a lot of work. And you should not wait to be saved. You should save yourself. I hope this was interesting. See you next time. Ciao. Like this happen. This type of thing, which is a golden foundation